Digital photography made simple.
Hi again, welcome back to Digital 1-to-1. Our segment today is about aperture, what it is and how it operates. Now, the aperture is the size of the opening in our lenses that determine the amount of light entering our camera sensor. The size of that opening is controlled by adjustable blades that overlap, something similar to the way the diaphragm in our irises work. Now, when we enter a bright lit area, our irises tend to shrink down and get small, and when we come out of a bright area into something a little darker, our irises will open up. Now, our camera lenses work the exact same way, but we have a little video to show you, and here's a little eyeball to look at. The aperture is one of the camera's 3 operations that help us determine the best exposure. It's part of that triangle of good exposure that we at Digital 1-to-1 want you to remember. The other 2 parts of that triangle would be our shutter speeds and our ISO settings. But note, not all cameras have an aperture that you can alter manually. Prosumer cameras do, professional SLRs certainly do, and there's a few point and shoots out there that'll also let you do this. Like the iris or the diaphragm that we just watched in the video, and whether we're shooting manually or automatically, the aperture allows for the amount of light coming in for our best exposure. Now that's just part 1 of 2 that aperture helps us take control of our image. Here on Digital 1-to-1, we like to emphasize the creative photographer within you. But before we move into that next step, we need you to understand that the aperture is given a set of numerical value numbers known as f-stops. Now, f-stops is a term we've heard before. It is the size of the opening within the lens or the aperture, and it's the numerical value number to match it. Now, we've taken a set of sample images showing you the camera's lens openings and the numerical values to match. Take a look at this. Now let's move on to the second part of aperture, the more creative one. We're going to show you 2 images. Our first image was shot at numerical value f2.8. That's f-stop 2.8. Our second image, we're working with f-stop 16. That's the high numerical value. Now I want you to pay attention to that f16 shot, and I want you to see and notice how the background kept its focus and sharpness in that image. Take a look. The difference we see in those 2 images is what we call depth of field. The depth of field is what's in focus between what's in the subject or at the foreground and what's in focus in the background. Take me in this camera, for instance. If I'm at f16, 22 or more, my depth of field is going to keep not only me in focus, but it's also going to keep my camera in focus and what's in the background. Now, a lower depth of field would be setting my aperture at f2.8 or f4. Where I may stay in focus, but that camera is going to go soft. Now, for instance, if I did focus on the camera, I might go soft at f2.8. But you can always be sure if you're going to be working at a higher aperture, like f16, most of what you focus on from the foreground to the background is going to stay in focus. And this is how we get creative with our aperture. By using our f-stops, we can place emphasis on one area of our image over another. Think of it as the weight of importance. The background may not be as important as your main subject, and by controlling your depth of field, we can now emphasize what is important. Hey, like always here on Digital 1-to-1, we can encourage you always to think creative. We want you to use aperture as part of your creative knowledge. If you want to have more control and work at this level of your creativity, then we suggest that you work with a point-and-shoot camera that can offer you the aperture functions that you can use manually, or work your way up to a prosumer camera. Now, your camera retailer has a large array of cameras to pick from, so look for that function next time you're out shopping for a new camera. Knowing your aperture is how you become a Digital 1-to-1 photographer. It's how you're a smarter photographer and how you're more creative than just a snapshot shooter. So for more tips like this, we look forward to seeing you again here on Digital 1-to-1.